The CJ Howard Show. Now let's go to CJ Howard.
Hello, everybody, and happy Halloween to you. We are live from my home in Barberville. Hello, everybody. This is the 13th episode of the CJ Howard Show. I'm CJ Howard. We have got a phenomenal set of guests and a co-host that's out of this world. And we're going to get to all this here tonight, but we want to hear from you. We're live on the Facebook. We are live on the YouTube. And starting next week, we're going to be live on the D&D Sports Network. We're going to talk more about that just a little bit. I think Tanner heard my big announcement last week. I'm excited about that. Pumped up. We'll talk more about that in just a moment. We're going to go ahead and get to our guest list. We've already got one of our guests. He beat us to the punch. He was in the box before we even got started. And that's Coach Troy Thomas of the Burg-in Bulldogs. We're going to talk with him. Excited to do that. Magnus Blair, athletic director at Letcher Central High School, is going to join us at 8:25. This is sort of like a Letcher County thing going on here from now until about 8:45. We're going to join Earl. Is going to be with us at 9. He's going to talk to us about the Tigers getting set to travel back to Johnson Central for their playoff game and what to expect in the 13th region. And we'll also hear from Camille at 9:30. We've got a lot to talk with her about. We got the WYMT draw. We got week 10. We got week 11 coming up. The sorry excuse for a UK team that we saw yesterday play. I thought they did not come ready to play. I don't know how you with 2 weeks did not come ready to play, but we'll get to that later. Now let's get to my co-host. He is the man. He is the most legendary figure, not just in sports, but now in the law area. If you need a good lawyer, you need to find him in the Prestonsburg books there in Prestonsburg. With Tanner Haseburg with us. Tanner, congratulations, first of all, on passing the bar, and congratulations on all your success.
Thank you very much. I hope no members of your audience never need a lawyer, but if they do, I'm there for them. So I appreciate that plug, CJ. Great to be back with you. I was sitting here trying to think, when was the last time I got to co-host with you? And I believe that you probably have to go all the way back to January of 2021.
The last show you did with me was the season finale show.
I did the season finale.
April.
That's right. Okay. Other than the season finale, though, it had been since January. So it's been a while, and I'm excited to be back with some good company tonight.
Great company. We got some great guests. We've got a lot to talk about. We've got a lot going on. The first big thing I guess we will do before I bring Coach Thomas on is let's talk a little bit about Moorhead yesterday. Tough loss, but I think it was a learning experience for the for Moorhead and the kids. I think they might be able to feed off that down the stretch run here.
Yeah, disappointing loss against Davidson. Coming into the game yesterday, both Moorhead and Davidson were 4-0 in the Pioneer Football League and tied for first. So the winner yesterday, which obviously was Davidson, knew that they were going to be able to control their own destiny in the Pioneer Football League. So now all Davidson has to do is win out, and they will be PFL champions. I will say this, it's going to be a tough road to hoe for the MSU Eagles, but they need Davidson to lose at least twice. And now Davidson does have a pretty tough schedule coming up. I believe they still have to play Marist and Dayton and maybe one other pretty good team. The schedule gets a little tougher for them. So Moorhead State needs some help, but the Eagles are not out of the conference race by any stretch. It was just disappointing, especially from an offensive perspective. It was an offense that is one of the best in the country in FCS, and they just couldn't get it going yesterday. I don't know if part of it was the weather.
I think weather had a big thing to do with a lot of games yesterday. You look back and you look at a lot of the scores and the action around the nation. Weather played a lot of big things in it. So, I mean, I was going to go watch Union play their final home game, and it was just too wet to go out and sit there. I mean, because it just that little bit of rain, and was just good enough to get you good and wet, and but I think Moorhead will best to stay in there. I know, and one break, you can catch one. And you were talking about some of the teams that Davidson still has to play. We'll have to wait and see how it works itself out. What does Moorhead have left?
I don't have the schedule right in front of me. I know they play Valparaiso, and that's a pretty evenly matched game, although in the recent series history, Moorhead has fared pretty well against Valparaiso. And I know Moorhead still has to play San Diego, which is a really tough game. I think they have to go out to San Diego this year. And anytime you're traveling across 3 time zones, a group of 18, 19, 20-year-old young men, that's hard to do. And San Diego, they can recruit California. And they're always a good program. Actually, that's the program John Harbaugh came from. And Josh Johnson, who played in the Pioneer Football League at Jacksonville, actually got into the game today for the New York Jets. So some interesting history there. But that's I guess, a long-winded answer to say that Moorhead State has some challenging games ahead of it as well. So Moorhead has to win out and then hope Davidson loses twice if they want to win the PFL and get the automatic bid to the FCS playoffs.
Well, we'll be keeping our eye on that as we go down the stretch run. We're going to go ahead and bring Coach Thomas in here now. With us now is the head boys basketball coach of the Burg-in Bulldogs, Troy Thomas. A lot of you might know Troy. Some of you may not. He is from the Letcher County area, so I know everybody down through that way will know him very well. I got my first opportunity to meet him Saturday night at the big wrestling event that we had there in Burg-in. Coach, it's good to have you back with us here on the CJ Harris Show.
Hey, thank you, CJ, for inviting me. I really appreciate you asking me to come out, you and Tanner. I had no idea Tanner was going to be here, man, so it makes it even more special. A lot of people don't know. I remember Tanner when he was like knee-high, so that tells you how old I am, and we used to go to the same church at Johnson. Of course, I'm good friends with his family. His mom and dad are good friends of mine, Tanya and Rick. And actually, I was with Tanner's dad last night. We were watching UK football game on TV, and so we sat beside each other. I really enjoy his dad. I always like to get advice from him. I've always said this: always seek wisdom from those who came before you. And his dad is a great one. So, but I'm so glad to be here, and you guys invite me here. And of course, Burg-in's a small place, man. If you blink, you go by it. So, tonight's a great night just to be here and talk some sports with you guys.
Yeah, Coach. I was when the GPS. I thought this would be a pretty easy place to find, and it's sort of hid back in the left little corner there. If you're not aware where you're going, you'll go right by it. So
you will.
Also, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was going to say you will. We only got one caution light. That's it. So, and one little restaurant, which is the most popular restaurant here in town. So, but a lot of great people here at Burg-in. We got a great administration and just a great group of people here that I love to be with.
You're in the 12th region. A lot of people don't know that because I personally think you ought to be in the 13th, but they say you're closer to the area where you're in the 12th. You're in a tough district, though. You got West Jessamine, East Jessamine, and I can't remember the fourth team. Is it Mercer County?
Yeah, Mercer
I can't remember the fourth team. I know
County.
East and West is in there. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's a tough road to hoe, Coach, every year, wouldn't you say?
It is. We're a very tough district, and it's seeded, before I came here and, they had, I know Burg-in hadn't played like seeded games for years in our district. So one of the things I wanted to do was to come here and say, look, we may be Burg-in, but we're still going to play the district teams and stuff. And, I just think that, that tells your kids that you believe in them, and not saying that no one believed in them, but, every coach is different and things with philosophies and things. So I just wanted to be able to play those teams, even though I know the enrollment's a whole lot bigger, but, it still doesn't matter, with, the heart that you have and things. So, we've got a really tough district, West and East and Mercer, and, they're always in the top 5 every year and things. And we got just really good coaches here in their district and region. So it's a really tough region. Every year you got Lincoln County, who's really good with Coach Jackson, and, Boyle County won the state won the region this past year and things, and they got a lot of their kids back. So it's a really tough region to where, whoever you're playing, you've got to really prepare. I told somebody last year, I said the 12th region sort of reminds me of the SEC football. There's no easy game. Every game is tough. Every game is hard, and you have to prepare. Of course, football and basketball is different. You have to play maybe 3 games a week, compared to football only compare, one time a week and things like that. But we really got a tough district. It's in really good teams and good coaches.
12th region basketball, a lot of people don't keep up with it because I do, because that's one of the coverage areas that I cover, because Southwestern's over there, Pulaski County's over there, Wayne County's over there.
Yes.
They got some good basketball in the 12th region. You was talking about the comparity in that region. It's gotten better in the past 5 or 6 years. It didn't used to be that way, though. It used to be a couple of teams at Pulaski, Southwestern, and then everybody else was chasing them. Now that everybody's got their athletes, they're starting to – everybody's chasing everybody, don't you think?
Oh, it is. It's a knockdown, drag out. You got – it's like the 12th region. You got 4 or 5 teams that can beat anybody each night. I mean, sometimes 6 or 7. Somerset's last couple of years has had really good teams. Of course, they lost to one kid. Well, actually, 2 kids are on the football team at the University of Kentucky. And then the one kid, I can't think of his name off the top of my head. He plays baseball for Louisville. Lincoln County, they're really good. They got I think they got this 6'10" kid from Rockcastle County who moved over, I believe. And plus, they were good this summer when everybody returning. And Boyle County's still going to be the same. Danville's got great athletes. And, it's just one of those regions. It's a knockdown, drag out every night. I mean, it's a tough region, and very well respected around the state as well. A lot of great coaches that I've got to know the past 3 years here, and Mercer County and Coach Hamlin, who does such a wonderful job. Coach Damon Kelly at West Jessamine, and he does a phenomenal job. I mean, it's just a very respected region throughout the state of Kentucky. It definitely is.
There's one school in your region that a lot of people we always try to keep our eye on, and that's Kentucky School for the Deaf. It's great to have them in your district.
Yes.
I don't know if you've ever played them, Coach, but could you explain to people what kind of atmosphere that is if you're playing KSD?
Well, we have not played KSD since I've been here, but this year we're actually going to play them. We're going to play, I believe, a boy-girl doubleheader. And I don't know, I don't know, the aspects of it and things playing KSD. I do know we're playing this year. They're a small school, and, I'm one of those guys. I've been on both ends when it comes to, coaching basketball. So, and they're a wonderful school district. And I'm just one of those types of people. I want to help people and stuff. And I know they have a hard time trying to find games. And so I definitely wanted to play them this year, and they reached out to us. And so that's something that we're going to do. We're going to start playing KSD every year and things, and helping them out as well. Our superintendent, Mr. Begley, who's such a great administrator, he actually worked Kentucky School for the Deaf. He was their superintendent before he came to Burg-in and things. And he just, I remember him saying he just saying a lot of great things about KSD and what they do for their students and stuff. So, but I'm glad we get to play them this year, and it'll be a good matchup between both teams.
Well, the reason why I bring them up is because I know you've heard of Wendell Wilson. His son is deaf, and he coached at KSD. He was the middle school coach for, I want to say 8 or 10 years, Byron Wilson.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to throw that in there because KSD's, I've seen them play maybe one time in my whole life, and it was a fun experience. I mean, they understand what's going on. They follow the rules. If they've got a question, The officials were, I thought, really, their sign language was good. I thought they were able to talk to them when they had to. So I thought it was just a cool experience. And I thought they were on your schedule, and I thought that would be a cool experience for your kids.
Yeah, and they are. And like I said, I'm wanting to play them, and I'm all about helping people out. And because, like I said, being on both ends of the floor, and I have many years I've been coaching stuff. I just think humility is everything, and wonderful people. I've got to meet several of the coaches in the past, and just very gracious and kind. And in a school like that, this is just me. I want to help them out as much as I can, because I always feel like the more you help people, the more you get back in return, and that's what we should do as people anyway. And just a great bunch of people, and I got to meet the coach. He's just a great guy, and have a lot of respect for what they do there and what they're doing for their kids. Man, it just means much respect from my perspective, definitely.
You remind me of our current coach at Leslie County, Larry Sparks. Larry Sparks is down to heart, down deep. He cares. He's just like you. And I'm talking with you. I feel like I'm talking to him, because he's a great gentleman. He's a great coach, and he do anything to help anybody out. And Coach, I think you're on the right path for a long, successful career.
I appreciate
Tanner,
that. I do.
It's your show. I know you're
my man Tanner.
Him's been longtime friends for a long time.
Yes.
Well, Troy Lee's too humble to brag on himself, so I can tell you some things about Troy Lee that you might know, but you probably don't know. Did you know he's the only Division I basketball player ever from Blackie, Kentucky? That's fact number one. But the cooler fact is that, and by the way, Danny Hall can verify that stat. He's our resident. Well, I guess he still lives in Blackie, and our resident Blackie historian.
He does.
Danny Hall, love that man.
But the coolest fact about Troy Lee is he was the star of Coal Miner's Daughter. He was the star. He was the baby that Sissy Spacek is holding in that movie. That's Troy Lee Thomas.
Long
in Letcher County.
Yeah, long time ago, Coal Miner's Daughter. It was filmed in our hometown when I was a little kid, and we had of course, my mom still lives in her house today, but we had a 2-story house. The downstairs, we had a pool hall, and so when they came in to do the movie, they used the downstairs for a dressing room, and like people got their haircuts and things. Man, I remember it I remember it like it was yesterday. And so, Sissy Spacek, who played as Loretta Lynn, she would come upstairs like in between acts. She'd be worn out, and I remember a little kid walking, like open the door to go get me a pop in the refrigerator, and she's laying on her couch, and just taking a nap. My mom, bless her heart, my mom would cook for Tommy Lee Jones and Sissy Spacek every night. I remember one night, my dad, there's a liquor store called Blue Goose in Cornetsville, Kentucky, in Perry County. And it was popular back in those days, because Letcher County, of course, was dry. And my dad would go to Blue Goose every night and get like a case of beer. And him and Tommy Lee Jones would drink beer on the deck all night. I mean, seriously, all night long.
I love that.
And,
that's awesome.
Yeah, and here I am, a little kid. The only thing I think of back in those days is Star Wars and Hot Wheels. I don't know who these people are, and but Mom, I do remember one time Sissy Spacek was in the bathroom, and she had to cut her bangs, and she couldn't, and my mom cut her bangs for her. And I do know when she left, she told Mom, she said, if I ever get a chance and bring my husband, I'm going to bring him back, and we're going to stay all night with you. I remember that like it was yesterday. I was right there. And, here I am, 51 years old, looking back like, man, that's just crazy. Look back in your life sometimes how things happen and when you don't have no control. But it was a wonderful experience for me. And, every time it comes on TNT or TBS, man, I can tell you every scene, every word, everything. So it was a neat experience to play in that movie. It definitely was.
I'll tell you something else, CJ, is Troy Lee was an assistant at Moorhead and played at Moorhead. But as an assistant, Troy Lee, I think when you were an assistant for Kyle Macy, didn't you lead the country in free throw percentage one year?
Actually, we did. We led the country in free throw percentage one year. The next year, we led the country, I believe, in field goal percentage as well. So we led the country in two different categories. Of course, we had Ricky Bernard, who all-time leading scorer Moorhead. He got drafted second round by Sacramento Kings. Having him, Chaz Marks, and Marquis Sykes. Marquis Sykes, who's the all-time assist leader at Moorhead. We had a real good team, won the regular season, 2003 OVC regular season, but got beat upset and with Coach Sutton, who was at UK with Tubby Smith. We got beat by Tennessee Tech in the semis in Nashville. So it was a really good 3 years experience for me, working with Coach Macy, Coach Wayne Breeden, Jeff Davis, who's the coach at South Laurel. Jeff and I were roommates, and we lived in a trailer for 1 year. Then we moved to a house and lived in a house, I think, for 2 or 3 years. I mean, we're like brothers and stuff, and it was a great experience to work with those guys. Alan Edwards, who played at UK, he was on our staff. He's now at Loyola Marymount in California, and before that, he was the head coach at Wyoming. So I still stay in touch with everyone when I can. I definitely do. Great guys.
And Troy Lee was an assistant also for Lake Kelly, who was a legendary coach, not only in Kentucky high school, but coached at Austin Peay too. And 1 year at Fleming County, they had a really, really good team. And I think Troy Lee was that they made it to the semis, and there was a bad call. Really, Fleming County should have won the whole thing that year, right? When you were an assistant for Lake Kelly, not to pour salt in the wound, but
yeah, 97, 98, yeah. We go to the Final Four. We're playing J.R. Van Hoos at Painesville and Todd Tackett. We're up at halftime by 4. No, I think we're up at halftime by 5 because we scored on the last second. And everything. I mean, I really thought we was going to win it. The night before, we beat Louisville Eastern, who was a defending state champion. They had been undefeated all year. We beat them by 19. We had a kid named Josh Graham who played at Virginia Commonwealth, who was really good, and we had a good nucleus group of guys around Josh. Derek Collins, who's now a pharmacist in Lexington, and Jay Emmons, who is actually a teacher in Fleming County. Had a really good group of guys there, and actually third quarter, I want to say midway through the third quarter, Josh Graham got a rebound and fell the wrong way and broke his arm. And that hurt us, and I really believe to this day, because we were really good, and I really believe to this day we could have won the state tournament if Josh hadn't got hurt. And but yeah, it was a great team. We went back again the 99. We went back 98, 99 back to back. So working for Coach Kelly, a lot of people don't know Rick Stansbury, who's at Western Kentucky, Leonard Hamilton, who's at Florida State, and the list goes on of those coaches working for Coach. I talk. Actually, it's funny. I talked to Leonard Hamilton last week. I stay in touch with Coach Hamilton and Coach Stansbury, and we always talk about Coach Kelly. When he passed away, he gave me all his wife Marty and his kids gave me all their all of his practice stuff, like from Oral Roberts, Austin Peay. And like 2 weeks ago, I was looking through it because I always do, and I saw John Wooden, who wrote some notes and gave it to Lake Kelly. John Wooden and Jimmy V in 1982 at North Carolina State, and they wrote a note to Lake, Coach Kelly, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. It's amazing what I got. I got Bob Knight's writing. I've got some letters that Bob Knight had sent to Coach Kelly. I tell you what, I do have a lot of people. I guess I'm probably the only guy in the country that has this. I mean, and I'll be honest with you, it's pretty neat. But so when Coach Patino was at Providence, they played Coach Kelly in the second round of the NCAA tournament, and Coach Patino beat them in overtime by 1 point. Actually, what happened, there was a kid from Austin Peay that got fouled with 0 time on the clock. He was the best free throw shooter on the team. He misses 2 shots. And if he hit one, they would have beat Providence. And years later, Coach Pitino, when he was at Lexington, because when Coach Kelly retired, he went to WKYT and worked with Wayne Martin. And I remember Coach Kelly telling the story that, him and Coach Pitino were good friends, but Coach Pitino told him that if Coach Kelly would have beaten him, that his path of coaching would have been different. He wouldn't be at Kentucky. And, he just has a lot of respect for so many coaches across the country. Bob Huggins, who's another good friend of his, I go watch West Virginia practice every year. And I know Coach Hugs real well. And, we'll sit down and talk about Coach for 30 minutes because a lot of people don't know Coach Huggins was in the OVC when he first started out. He was the coach at Akron. And Coach Kelly was at Austin Peay. And I remember him telling me that Coach Kelly would beat him every time. He said, every time that you're on offense or on defense, he said, you're thinking about Austin Peay's defense because they're just so good. And but it's just so neat to hear all these stories from Coach and things like that. I've got a book I could tell them about.
And the last thing I'll say about Troy Lee, I know we got other guests coming up, but his first year at Rowan County girls took him to the Sweet 16, won the 16th region. I was a freshman, and so a lot of my friends played on that team, and that was Troy Lee's first year, and took him. Yeah. And he played this swarming defense and would stay up all night drawing up game plans. And I remember one time, Troy Lee, you did some sort of fundraiser where you walked or ran all night and got people to donate. You had all these blisters on your feet and your legs, and you were miserable, but you did it. as a fundraiser.
It was a fundraiser. I walked 24 hours without stopping. And to believe it or not, I didn't think nothing of it. Like somehow WKYT, WLEX got wind of it. Next thing I know, they're coming to Round County, and basically it was a fundraiser for a program. And then the next following year, if you can recall, you remember Coach Ballard's son passing away, Matthew Jr., and we did another one, and half the proceeds went to his scholarship fund, and that's when it was KYT and LEX. That year came and interviewed and things like that. But yeah, I did that. And I tell you the hardest part, to be honest with you, I started Friday night and the kids were there. So we had the football lights on and they had tents all over the middle of the football field, because they get tired, they're going to go to sleep. Well, I'm walking by myself. So I started at 9 o'clock. Well, goodness gracious, when 2 o'clock hits in the morning, there's nobody there. And that's the hardest part, man. You're trying to stay awake. Like, where's the
You're by yourself walking.
Yeah, where's the toothpicks at, man, to put my eyeballs, to keep me awake. And 2 o'clock hit, by that time you've heard all the music. There's no more music you can listen to. And I mean, that was the hard part, was from like 2 o'clock to like 5 o'clock in the morning. I was like, man, how am I going to do this? But I tell you what, we calculated the miles, Tanner. And that 24-hour walk, I think I walked 78 miles. I believe so. It was 78 miles. And Dr. Ed Scott, if you remember Dr. Scott, he came out that morning before he went to work, and he wanted to check on me. And I appreciate him doing that because he was worried about me. He's like, man, look, he said, this is great what you're doing, but you have no idea what it's going to do to your feet. And I remember because we had church the next day, and I hated to miss church. I think I missed church because I was just so tired and things, but it was a great cause. And, it's funny you said it, Tanner. I totally forgot all about that, man. It's too funny. That was like it was just yesterday.
Good times, man. I remember.
Oh, Lord.
Go ahead, CJ.
No, I'm just stunned by all this revelation. Coach, why don't you write a book? I mean, I would read it. I promise I would. I don't read often. My wife gets after me because she says I just like to look at pictures. But I would read this book because you have done, and I'll tell you what. I'm gonna bring this. I would not do this often, but I'm gonna go ahead and bring Manus in here because Manus, of course, you're from Letcher County. Manus knows you well. He might want to hear some of these stories. He's probably got a story he wants to tell. But we've got Manus Blair with us, athletic director at Letcher County Central High School. Manus, we'll get you 1 second. But, Coach, seriously, you have lived such a great life. I mean, and you're from a little town, Blackie in Letcher County. You should write a book. You get Danny Hall to help you write it.
That's all I need. I need Danny Hall and Manus Blair. I mean, think we got the Manus Blair, AD of the year. You know, his first year as AD. You know, they're winning all these championships and stuff. You know, I mean, let's just call him Mitch Barnhart Jr. or something. You know what I mean? So, I can't say enough about Manus. When I was a little kid, I mean, he took me by like his wingman, and you know, and everywhere he went, I went. I can't tell you the number of times I used to go to his house and we'd watch ball games, or get in his car, we'd go watch Kentucky football, or I mean, I was always with Manus. And you know, what's that old saying goes? It takes a village to raise a child, and I was a prime example. And you know, looking back, and at this point, you know, so many great people in my life, and Letcher County has basically raised me and been like a role model to me, and has been everything for me. And I know I can't ever repay him, but Manus Blair is right at the top, man. I love him. I mean, all of his brothers and his family and things. And I remember that maroon Honda car he used to drive back in the day. He remembers that. And yeah, I remember that. I remember that.
But it's kind of ironic that you have Troy Lee on there tonight, and of course the Braves are playing right now while the show's going on, and took Troy Lee to Atlanta to watch the Braves a few times, and everything that Troy Lee has told you tonight is correct and true. I've seen many of the notes and things that he has in his plethora of different things, and things that can be cherished. I still have my Lou Henson hat that he brought, signed by Coach Lou Henson of Illinois, and I still have that in my treasure book of memorabilia. And of course, Blackie. Well, I live in Elk Creek, which is a suburb of Blackie now, if you call it that. And just a wonderful place. And of course, I taught along with his mother at Campbell's Branch Elementary, and good memories and good sports memories, as well as the memories of the coal miner's daughter and those kinds of things that have happened in Blackie. And still remember Troy Lee. He was Elton John's pinball wizard before it actually even came out.
That's right, man. That's right. The pinball wizard back in the day.
I'm sure he remembers those.
Oh, CJ's true story.
Definitely. Kids today they have no idea about pinball.
They don't. They have no idea. And CJ, real quick, I was going to tell you about Lou Henson. So true story. So when I was at Moorhead, we played Illinois in the Line-Out Classic, and we played Illinois. After the game, they have a booster club that feeds all the teams. So anyway, I'm in line, and we just get beat, I think, by 30. I mean, of course, Illinois was tough. And I'm in line getting ready to get some food, and there were some baked beans. And I said, oh, man, them looks like soup beans back at home. Well, a couple of the ladies who was for the booster for the basketball for Illinois says, well, son, where are you from? I said, well, I'm from Eastern Kentucky. I said, I was raised on soup beans. I said, and I just mentioned, I said, I wonder if Coach Henson eats soup beans, just make a funny comment. Well, they were dying laughing. Well, I had no idea what they were going to do. So next night we played UT Martin. We beat UT Martin, which, anytime you win, the food tastes better. So we're back in there again the next night. So sure enough, everybody's quiet. They get on the microphone. They said, we've got, let us have your attention real quick. We've got a special presentation we want to give. So I'm looking around and thinking like, okay, who's it going to be? Well, they called me up, and Lou Henson personally signed a can of soup beans. Lou Henson. And so they gave, people were just applauding. Oh, yeah, they told Coach Fick. Coach Fick said, yeah, you need to do it. And it was hilarious. So I got a can of soup beans from Coach Lou Henson at Illinois.
And a hat.
And a hat. That's right.
Wow.
And a hat. For me.
And a story.
For me. That's right. So.
Great memories.
Great memories indeed, man. Great memories. So.
And, before before Troy Lee gets off here, I admire if anybody out there follows on his Facebook and everything, he does an outstanding job of presenting his basketball players and putting them to the forefront. And you know, anytime that you're playing in the area in which he's playing, he starts off behind the 8 ball, and he does an outstanding job. If you would have watched him in high school, the only thing he was interested in doing was shooting 3-pointers. And of course he could make it. He never played any defense. So when you watch and you read about his notes and do all those other things that he does, the biggest concentration he has, believe it or not, is on defense. So it's kind of ironic based upon what he has done as a player to now as a coach, and he's doing a wonderful job at Burg-in High School.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I learned it from the best from you, man.
Don't know so much about that now.
I don't know. It would be a big loss, but we've got to get you back in the mountains. We got to get you back here closer to us, coaching or doing something, because you're a treasure to the mountains. And if there was a certain show you could do on treasures, you would be a show we could do, because I would love to watch that, because Coach, you live such a great life. Got so much more to do. And will you come back again? I would love to have you back again. I would love to have you. Actually, I would love to have you be a co-host of mine one night, where you can spend a couple hours with me. We can talk all your good stories.
Man, listen.
If CJ, he would wear his polka dot red and white.
CJ, man, anytime you want me, I will be there, man. I'm so grateful and humble that you even asked me to come on the show, man. It means a lot to me, and I'm just so grateful and so blessed to have good people in my life. Like I said, growing up, I had Blair, honestly, he was like a father to me. I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. I mean, he directed me in so many ways, and we'd have great conversations in his car and going to places. And, we went to the Atlanta Braves game, and I mean, we did so many great things together, and his family, and just a wonderful people there in Letcher County, Manus, and Dexter Campbell and Frank Campbell. The list goes on and on. Yep. And of course, there ain't nothing like Joe Pack's chicken. Let me just go ahead and tell you right now, nothing like Joe Pack's chicken. I don't care what anybody says.
Very true.
Well, Coach, I've not been there, but Manus is going to have to get me some of that bread to me when I come to a Letcher game. So he'll have to let me try some of that.
I will bring you Coach, some, and it will be waiting in my office, CJ.
That's right. Tanner knows about that Joe Pack's chicken too.
Oh yeah,
that's exactly right.
Well, Coach, this has been one of the best interviews I've ever had. I've learned so much, and you're just a treasure to basketball around the state of Kentucky. I will look you up one night and I would love for you to be my co-host, so we can spend a couple quality hours and just tell some of your great stories. And Coach, I want you to come back, and good luck to your Bulldogs all season long, and I'll be hollering at you pretty soon.
Thank you so much, great guys, and I appreciate talking to you. And man, it's great seeing you, Tanner and Manus, and love both of you dearly, man. You guys are a big part of my life. It means a lot to me.
God bless you, man.
You got my number.
All right, buddy. See you, man.
See you, Troy.
See you.
All right, bye-bye.
Troy Lee Thomas, head coach of the Burg-in Bulldogs. That was awesome. And I had to bring Manus in there because I thought he would like to be a part of that. And, I thought that would just make it even more cooler. So how'd you like that, Manus?
I have no problem. Troy Lee and I talked several times throughout the summertime, and he kind of bounces some things off of me. Of course, being an old man who coached back in the 80s and the 90s, he brings a lot of those principles that Lake Kelly, Kyle Macy, he just absorbed so much from Kelly Wells, just different people that he continuously tries to make himself better. And a lot of coaches do not do that. They think they know every single aspect, and it's just like in any kind of educational program. Basketball is a continual. You're just learning new stuff and new drills, and people are learning different things. And Troy Lee has been one of those people who never puts his clipboard down, and he's always going throughout the state of Kentucky and throughout the other states trying to find more information. And Burg-in really, really, really is fortunate to have him as a head basketball coach.
He's, I mean, I didn't know him till tonight. I met him last weekend, of course, at wrestling. He's a very nice gentleman. I'm thinking, maybe I should have sit down with him and we could have had a whole good conversation coming. I mean, the stories you guys were telling, I love the stories, especially Coal Miner's daughter, because, I mean, he's a little baby.
Yeah.
He don't realize who Sissy Spacek is. I mean, very few people knew who Sissy Spacek was. I mean,
no, and if you've ever been to Blackie, which you probably haven't been to Blackie, it hasn't changed really since the filming of Coal Miner's Daughter. So if Troy Lee could bring you where it actually happened, he can show you exactly the streets. And if you watch Coal Miner's Daughter, very little of it has changed since its filming.
Yeah. Well, let's get to you, man. It's good to see you. Either. I haven't saw you in quite a while.
No, not really.
Do what?
I said I don't think Troy Lee's changed either. He has many stories to tell. I can vouch for some of them. Some of them we probably couldn't tell on Facebook either.
We'd have to save those for an unrated version of the show.
It would
only
very much
adults only can watch this show.
And one or two of them involve me, so we sure don't want to. We don't want to say that here.
No. We got to keep you pure, because we can't afford to have you in any trouble or have bad rumors going about you. First of all, congratulations. I know you've been 6-7 months into your job already. Like Troy said, first year on the job, you win a regional championship in a sporting event. I don't know how that gets done, but you are my athletic director of the year already. So, you and Mark Collett are right up here. You and Mark Collett get my tops already. So,
Mark and I,
congratulations to the Lady Cougars.
Well, I appreciate that, and it's been something that largely was I was looking to do something different. And of course, anybody that knows me knows I'm a sports nut, and I love every sport. You can't, even though a lot of people associate me with basketball. I'm an avid football fan. I'm an avid soccer fan. Avid volleyball fan. So, we were fortunate enough to win the volleyball regional the other night against a very good Knott County Central team at Hazard. Very good environment. We played Monday night at St. Henry, the 9th region winner, who is ranked 6th in the latest Kentucky volleyball poll. The way they do it now is that you don't go to one site. You go to the host after you draw from 9 through 16. And it's based upon RPI, which I'm not really an advocate.
That RPI.
Well, I mean, it's the same way in soccer.
I don't like the RPI.
I mean, it really puts a stranglehold on a mountain team if you do not get out and play some other teams that have a good RPI. Same thing in football after you get through the first 2 rounds. If we're fortunate in football to get past Johnson Central, then from that point on, if we're able to get past Prairie Central in the first round Friday night, we're going to be playing on the road. And you just have to do better scheduling. or you have to get out and schedule some teams that maybe you think are going to have a better RPI. So I don't think I can compare to Mitch Barnhart. And yeah, I may have six figures in my salary, but it includes cents. And I might have told Tanner that the night he drove up on the hill for one of our games. But it's really been a good experience for me. I've been out on the road. I've tried to watch as many teams as I can possibly watch. It's really hard in the fall because you've got girls and boys cross country. You have girls and boys golf. You have soccer, girls and boys. You have football, and then you have volleyball. So there's going to be some nights that you're out at one or the other, or you're hosting, and you've got both teams playing at the same night. So that has been a struggle, but overall the coaches and everybody else has been really good to me. You know, I don't understand every aspect of being an athletic director, but I think I understand the relationships that you need to have between players, coaches, and the parents and the athletic booster groups.
My biggest thing being when you're an athletic director, and I learned this from watching Mark Collins and watching Shannon Crisp. Shannon Crisp is one of the best athletic directors I've ever seen run a sports program. From when he was in there from the late 90s, 2000s to when he retired, there was no better run program at Leslie County under Shannon Crisp. And Mark Collins has done, him and Mr. Horton, the last 2 years have done just as good a job filling in for Shannon. But it takes a lot. And I thought when they hired you, I told Tanner, you can ask Tanner, I said, this is the perfect hire for Letcher County. I said, he knows the kids. He knows the coaches. He knows all the coaches around the mountains. He knows what they need, what they got to have, and what it's going to take for this program to succeed at the level they are. I mean, I just look at your basketball program, girls. You've got the best girls basketball program in the mountains. They played in one of the greatest games of all time last year in the regional finals against Knox County. This coming season, I can't wait for it to start because I'm excited for basketball. But what you bring to the table, don't short yourself, man. It's because you are just up there with you're with some of the best athletic directors out there.
Well, I appreciate those words, CJ. But you know, one of the aspects and one of the fortunate things about being at Letcher County Central is the resources, the facilities, and things that are already in place. And as you move along, and you know, our school's been open a while, and 16 years. So therefore, one of the aspects and one of the things which I did not oversee, which some people are giving me credit for, is the football field and the renovation of the football field, which looks really, really nice. It also incorporated the ability for us to host a soccer regional by placing the lines on the field in the correct places. But when you've got good coaches already in place, what you're trying to do is take away any of the behind the scene kind of things so they can control the basketball aspects, the specifics, and those kinds of things. So you're running the finances, you're running to get things where they need to be. And, that's one of the things. And, also working with the KHSAA, whether it be on transfers or whether it be anything that you're hosting. So it just takes a whole lot. And I've got a little bit, not that I'm a broadcaster or anything, but, I was able to broadcast for the last 2 years along with Anthony Bisaglia at WXKQ. I was able to do a few games with WYMT, and Neil Middleton allowed me to do that, and I was really fortunate to do those things. You just get and I refereed a little bit, so I've seen a little bit of all the aspects. Didn't do really, really good in any of them sometimes, but it allowed me to see some of the things that are behind the scenes that you don't get to see if you don't do those. Entirely, a lot of hours need to be placed into it. As you can, Shannon Crisp and I went to Alice Lloyd together. He could vouch, and I know Mark vouches, that it takes a lot of time. You get a lot of phone calls, a lot of texts. You can't hide from anything. So, you may get a text at 5:45 a.m. and say, they forgot to put the basketball goes down after the volleyball game. So you then have to in turn get a hold of a janitor are you in there? Can you get those basketball goes put down? Because we've got someone coming in at 6 a.m. to do their basketball shoots. So, it's just little bitty things. I look at it as a problem solving, doing kind of job, a behind the scenes guy. And if I can help the coaches, if I can help the players, and I can help the school in that way, then more power to it. And if I'm a success, that's probably the most success I will have, is being a problem solver rather than I don't want to be out in the forefront. If I have to be like Mitch Barnhart and raise millions of dollars, that's not for me.
Tanner, go ahead.
Well, I liked Manus's joke the first time about the 6 figures, including the 2 decimal points after the period there, and I liked it the second time. You know what's funny though is Mitch Barnhart's not making 6 figures; he's making, I think, 7 or 8. So
yeah.
might need to update that joke a little bit. But they both wear blue.
Right.
And I will say this: the facilities at Letcher County, at least in the mountains, are second to none. That's one of my favorite places to do a football game for TV. Great view up there, especially at sunset if you can get a game in September. And
right.
great press box, and we can park the satellite truck right up next to the press box, and I can go in there and we can do the game. And more often than not, they've got a competitive team too. So who does Letcher Central play first round of the playoffs? I've not looked at the schedule.
Perry County Central and Johnson Central plays Clay County.
There you go. So that'll be a good game right off the bat. And, if you make it to the second round, Letcher Central hung with Johnson Central for a little while when they hooked up a couple weeks ago. So it's November, it's playoff time, and anything can happen.
Yeah, and the thing about, and I appreciate you saying about the press box, but I have to give a lot of credit to Coach Oz Jackson, who was the beginning AD, and of course from Haseburg High School up through Letcher Central, and Dr. Mike Melton, who continued on after Oz. And those people were instrumental in helping secure those facilities. And, anytime WYMT wants to do her games, and Neil called and I said, yes, definitely. And, that's part of being an AD, is getting the kids out there. And anytime that you can talk about your kids or someone else can talk about your kids, then that is always a plus. And, Tanner does an outstanding job in doing that. And WYMT, and other groups out there, media groups, have done an outstanding job of portraying our facilities and our kids in a very positive manner.
Well,
we have a phone call. Hold on 1 minute, guys. We have a phone call, if I can get it working here.
Okay.
Well,
I appreciate Manus saying that.
Oh, we had a phone call. Okay, go ahead, Tanner.
I was just going to say I appreciate Manus saying that. That's anytime I do a game, I try to make it about the kids first. I have fun doing it and I like doing it, but rule number 1, somebody told me a long time ago, it's not about the broadcasters, it's not about the referees or even about the coaches. It's about the kids, and just put them on a pedestal and you'll be okay.
Right. I can remember that I went over to Prestonsburg, Anthony and we did a doubleheader basketball game, and I probably didn't get to my car before I got a text, and it was from Jim Frazier. And Jim said, and I'd told him before, and he tuned in from Jacksonville, Florida, I guess it was, and he really gave it to me. And I said, I never thought about it that way, Jim. And I said, if I get that opportunity again, then I'll work on that. And, I guess that's one of the things about broadcasting is, just like in coaching or being an AD, you're always a work in progress. And I learned a great deal from that night. And I think that's also another part of why in the AD job in which I do, you want to accentuate the positive. And then maybe later on, when you have to get to that negative, then you're able to help that person, that player, that coach.
I think that's a good philosophy in many areas of life, not just broadcasting or coaching.
But yes, sir.
I was just going to say that your first part of the job part has went very successful. To have you on here tonight was actually cool because it worked out that your Lady Cougars won the region and that Troy Lee was going to be on here. So I think it made it such a great night for you and for the people there that knew Troy Lee. Let me go ahead and give you one more time where your Lady Cougars will be playing Monday and what time they play in the volleyball state tournament.
All the first semi-state games are scheduled Monday night at 7, and that was set aside by the KHSAA. And it's at St. Henry High School, which is in Erlanger. So it's about a 3.5-hour bus route from Letcher County Central. So we're leaving out tomorrow morning about 9:30, heading in that general direction. And if we were to advance, then it moves to George Rogers Clark High School instead of Louisville Valley, and that will be November the 5th. And if you've been fortunate to be to George Rogers Clark facilities, they have facilities that is beyond belief in every single thing. So
state of the art,
very much state of the art. And football we'll play Friday night at home against Perry County Central, and that also will be at 7:00. And the winner of that will advance to play against Johnson Central or Clay County the following Friday. And once we go through all that, then that's that infamous 3 letters again. RPI will determine from that point on.
Yeah, I don't like those letters. I'll be glad when they're gone in 2 years, when they do realignment and we go back to the old format where you played teams across from you. So it'll be exciting to do that. Manus, It's been an absolute honor to have you on the show. I know you'll come back. You'll come back anytime I need you.
Anytime you guys, you just holler at me.
Out down the road.
Okay, I appreciate it, guys. Anytime we can talk sports. Anytime we can talk about Letcher County Central athletics or just anything in general, and hopefully our Wildcats, Kentucky Wildcats, maybe I'll get straightened out against Tennessee, and maybe we'll get a Florida Bowl or edge into the Peach Bowl.
Man, it's good seeing you, buddy.
Take care.
Manus, it's been an honor. Good luck to you and the Lady Cougars in volleyball, and we'll see you here pretty soon.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Bye, Manus. Manus Blair, athletic director at Letcher Central High School. Very busy man, very good man. I don't know if I've ever had a segment where all 3 people were tied together in one way or another in several ways. I thought that's so cool.
Yeah, you really hit the jackpot there. You struck gold. You happened to go to Burg-in to watch this wrestling event. You have this, it's very serendipitous. You have this chance encounter with Troy Lee Thomas, and then you get him on the same night as me, and then Manus, who he grew up with, and I grew up knowing Troy Lee. I still see him in Moorhead all the time. I think he was at my graduation party from law school a few months ago, and we're able to share stories. I mean, it's what the CJ Howard Show is all about, bringing people together, right? I'm a guy that brings people together. You're magnanimous.
All right, we're going to have post up Earl here in about a couple of minutes. He's going to let us know what's going on in Manchester. Then we're going to get with Camille, and I know she's been very busy because I've been watching their WYMT page, and I noticed they've been having I noticed something they've done smart this year. they're bringing in the same school, boy and girl, that day. Like South Laurel boy and girl, East Ridge boy and girl. I think that's cool because it keeps them separating them. If they can keep the two teams, from the same school, you can get their profile done and move them on. So I think it's a pretty good idea.
Yeah, so definitely an efficient way to do it.
Now joining us is the
go.
mastermind in Manchester. He's when it comes, listen, this man right here, last year, the regional tournament, he already had my respect, but he got it doubled and tripled on top after we got done. He let it be known. Well, this is Earl Owens. Earl, how you doing, sir? How are you on this Sunday evening?
Wonderful. And how are you guys?
Doing great. Good to see you, buddy.
Doing well.
Good to see you all.
Earl, can you tilt your camera down a little bit so we can look at you?
There we go.
There we go. We want to look at the face. It's about faces on this show. We want to look at you.
The face that only a mother can love. And the perfect face for radio.
Well,
it's good to see you, Tanner.
I just tried to, right there's my face.
There you go. Trick or treat.
Yeah, I'm going to put mine on too, CJ.
Watch this face. Wait a minute. Watch this one. There's a grumpy cat.
Yeah.
I'm grumpy after watching the Bengals game.
That's
today.
so awesome.
Yeah, I know. Listen, can you believe that? The call on Mike Hilton. You have no business blowing an 11-point lead, but to call that helmet to helmet, man, that was awful. Just awful.
That was awful. That was I can't believe they called that helmet to helmet. I've seen. I just can't comment on that because it was so bad. It was so bad. But that wasn't one play that beat the Bengals. They shouldn't let the Jets go 5 straight trips down there, score touchdown, field goal, touchdown. So,
true.
But as I told my wife earlier before she went to church, there is not a good football team in the NFL. There's just 20-some teams that are on a given night can beat you. Who's ever going to be standing is going to win it.
Yep, you're right. You are right. I agree with that.
I agree with that too.
No consistency.
Yeah. There's a lot of parity. It's the NFL. The margin of separation between the top team and the worst team is, it's a game of inches for a reason. And the Bengals found that out the hard way today. I was worried. I knew that was a letdown spot for them. They got a week of great press after beating Baltimore, and they've got Cleveland on deck in a big division game and taking on a team with its back against the wall. And they came out on the worst end of it today. That I do think if Burrow would have gotten the ball back at the end with 3 timeouts, if that penalty hadn't happened, I think they would have gone down and at least gotten a field goal to send it to overtime. So that penalty was a killer. But you're right, they shouldn't have been in that situation to begin with.
Yeah. But I still love the Bengals. Who day?
Who day?
Exactly right. Got to make your second trip within 4 weeks to Johnson Central coming up. I know that the week you guys played them in the first time was the week of the passing of Coach Matney. When you were there that night, Earl, can you give us what the atmosphere was like?
I'll be honest with you. I see a team at Johnson Central, and it's kind of hard to call them a team of destiny, but that team just wasn't going to lose. And I think that team had so much respect for Jim, their coach. They loved him, obviously. He was a great football coach and, quite honestly, a great human being for those players there. And they wouldn't lose it that night. And I think they've kind of dedicated the rest of the season to them. And, If you would have told me that they would have went into Whitesburg and won the way they did against Letcher Central, Letcher Central have been playing great football this season. They just go over there, they win big, and I tell you, Johnson Central seems to be a team of destiny this year. And Clay County is going back there. Of course, being a Clay County fan, your heart wants the Tigers to win, obviously, but we know going in, take top 5 powerhouse in the state of Kentucky. It's not going to be easy. It's a hard place to play at Paintsville. And again, those kids have kind of dedicated their season to their late coach, which, they're going to be hard to stop. Let's just face it.
I feel like Earl, that Clay County this year has been. I think the field problems. Finally, when they got settled, I thought Clay County was playing good early. Then they had the law in the middle. Then they hung on towards the end. But this is a team that's still a young football team. People don't realize it. With a lot of young kids that are making plays now, this has to bowl good for the next couple of years, though, don't you think?
Yeah, I really do. I think Clay County's got a great young team, as you mentioned. Coach Sizemore and his staff has done a wonderful job. We had some injuries and key injuries to this football team right when that law began. Kind of started in the Harlan County game when Damian Duff, a top linebacker and kind of the power fullback that was used, he goes down with a broke ankle, lost for the year. You had Ryan Fultz, one of the starting offensive linemen, lost for the year. Zach Saylor has missed multiple games due to injuries. Andrew Roberts got injured. He started missing games. But the good news is, with the exception of Duff, all those kids are going to be back next year for this Clay County team. And Clay County's made some strides in football. They truly have. Coach Sizemore has done a heck of a job. He and the assistants with this team. And you're right, CJ. There's a lot of young football players. And I think they're only going to get better. And across the mountains, things I saw this year is the lower numbers. And I think COVID-19 has a lot to do with that as far as kids on football teams. And I think as we go through this season, the off season, next year, I think through vaccination process or whatnot, and I think a lot more kids will return out to play. Our neighbors here at South Laurel High School, which is a 5A high school, saw there 2 weeks ago due to some injuries and whatnot. They had 19 kids that actually dressed on a Friday night. So it goes to show you, I think COVID still plays a thing in it. Every team their rosters wasn't as big as they normally are, and I think in Clay County's case, I think for Clay County to really be competitive, they're going to have 40, 45, 50 kids. And with a school of 834 students, you would think that that's going to happen. And I think it will happen. I mean, there's a lot that has been put into the football program, the brand new turf that went down this year. To my knowledge, beginning tomorrow, they will start the process of taking out the stadium and the press box at Tiger Stadium. There'll be a brand new stadium next year, a brand new press box next year. There's some talk about putting the baseball and softball fields there, brand new concession stand, brand new restrooms. And,
that'd be good. That'd be cool.
Yeah. I mean, everything is going to be right there locally handy, right behind the stadium, I should say. So we got a lot of young kids. And
okay,
I think
guys,
I
think we got a phone call. Hold on 1 minute. Go ahead. I'm sorry, guys. Go ahead, caller. You're on the CJ Harris Show. Go ahead, caller. Hello, Ryan. How you doing this evening?
All right, how you doing?
I'm doing fine. I'm talking sports with Earl and Tanner.
Tanner, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Ryan. It's good to hear. Ooh, getting some feedback.
Hello?
He heard you. He said it's good to hear your voice.
Did Florida State win this weekend?
Did Florida State?
Did Florida State win this weekend?
Morehead State did not win. They lost to Davidson, unfortunately.
Did Morehead State win this weekend?
No, Morehead State didn't win. I'm
That's what
upset
happened in the
about it.
Pioneer League, ain't it, Tanner?
No.
Well, now, was it hurt in the PFL, you think?
Yeah, it'll definitely hurt them now because they were both 4-0. Them and Davidson were both 4-0. Now they have to win out and hope Davidson loses twice, which is possible, but makes it a very tough hill to climb for sure. Davidson loses twice, which is possible, but makes it a very tough hill to climb for sure.
I agree. CJ, what are your thoughts about the WYMT? Does anything pique your interest about this, the bracket or anything?
Yeah, a lot does. And I'm going to talk with that about Camille when she gets on here. I thought some of the seating was not correct, but I mean, I'm not the seating person. So, but we got some great matchups, and I think that's going to lead to some good games. And I think it's just as these coaches will tell you, you rather play the best. To be the best, you got to play the best. And I think that's what we got our hands on here.
Well, you got not Leslie and Valley in the same.
You know that Sugar Leslie girls game will be a good game. That Roe girl, you know, we all know if we keep her healthy, she's as good a player in the mountains or in the state as going. But you got to keep her healthy. Now, last year they kept her on a game-by-game basis, so we'll have to see how Coach Rowe and them does this year. But it'll be interesting to see. It's a good field, boys and girls. I really love the boys field because I think those are 8 of the best teams they've ever had in one place. So I think it's going to be very interesting there. Anything else on your mind, Ryan?
Well, you take care. CJ, thanks for taking my call.
Anytime, Ryan, give me a phone call. We'd love to hear from you.
See you, Ryan.
I'll be on. Thank y'all.
Okay, thank you, Ryan. Ryan Farmer from Leslie County. But Earl, you was talking about the start of the second half of the project at Manchester. You know, Leslie County is going to start theirs in December. You ain't gonna notice Eagle Stadium after it ain't gonna look nothing. When you guys come back in 2 years, you're gonna think you've come to I mean, it's gonna be state of the art.
Yeah, and you know,
but I'm looking forward to coming to you guys next year with your new turf and state of the art everything.
Yep, I mean it's definitely improvement, and you know it's all for the kids, and I think our kids in the mountains, not Clay County, but all over the mountains. You know, we deserve. Our kids do what everybody else is getting, not only in the state of Kentucky, but across America as well. You see all these brand new facilities that have been put together. And of course, some of the mountains are already that way. We've got some beautiful fields and stadiums in the mountains, but I think our kids deserve it. My goal would be to see every school have those type of facilities that our kids could play on, because that they deserve it.
Well, after I watched Leslie County and Harlan playing about a pound of mud the other night at Harlan, I would hope that someday your thinking comes for real, because that was not an entertaining game to watch in the rain. A lot of offense, but it wasn't very entertaining. Basketball's been going up, practice and everything. Me and you had discussed a little bit about this. You was telling me that you think this could be the youngest Tiger team in quite a long time. Talk about your Tigers and Lady Tigers a little bit there. So I'm interested on that statement.
Well, I mean, if you look at what the Tigers lost last year, I mean, my goodness, they lost 7 seniors. And I've not spoke with the Wolf kid, but I was told that Brady Wolf was going to focus on football. So if that happens and he doesn't play basketball, if you look at the current roster, the kids that they have coming in, there is talent there. It's really young. And if you look, they're going to have 0 points returning, 0 assists, 0 rebounds, 0 steals. These kids, probably between them, with the exception of Hayden Crockett and Jeremy Hibbard, They're the only ones with any varsity experience at all. And Hibbard went out with an ankle injury last year, and he didn't play hardly any of the season. So this could be the youngest team and most inexperienced team that I've ever seen in my lifetime at Clay County High School. But having said that, sometimes the curse can become a blessing, because these kids are not going to go out there with a bullseye on them. They're not going to go out there ranked number one. They're not going to go out there and feel that pressure. These kids are supposed to come in, learn the ball game this year, and nothing's really expected of them on a big time scale. So a lot of times when you're dealing with freshmen and sophomores, they go out and they play, and they don't remember what happened last night. They just go out and get the job done. So I think by mid-season, they'll get enough experience under the belt, and they'll be pretty good. I think the Lady Tigers will shock some people. I think if you look at some of those girls that have played for Coach Burchell, I think they're going to be some talent there this year, and I really feel like they're going to have a chance to shock some people. Although the 13th region, girls and boys both, is loaded this year with some great basketball teams. I mean,
when you look at the top 5 teams, the boys and girls in the 13th, you're used to seeing Clay County's name in there in the top 5. Now, and I'm not being disrespectful, but they're not. I mean, because if I'm looking at the boys right, you got North, Knox Central, South, Corbin, and
Harlan County. Yeah.
And you got on the girls' side, you got South, North, Knox Central, Corbin, and Bale.
And throw Jackson County in there.
It's just like
Jackson
you said,
County's got the majority of their kids
Tigers
back.
Can slide in there by middle of the season.
Yeah. No, I think you're absolutely right, CJ.
Well, I'm tickled to death we see OBI back out.
Yeah. And you see a former Clay County Tiger, head coach of OBI, Anthony Hibbard. Of course, Anthony was a starting point guard for Coach Mike Jones, but spent some time with the North Laurel Lady Jaguars, and also North Laurel Jaguars came back to Clay County High School 2 years ago to be an assistant. Anthony is going to be the head coach at OBI. So, that adds some fun into the rivalry that Clay County and OBI has. So it's going to be an interesting trip. But I think you're right on it, those top 5 teams. And girls and boys both. And you just look at the individual talent as well. I mean, top of the conversation, you got to say Reed Shepherd. The kid is ranked as high as 17th in the nation in a lot of prep polls, getting up to the 5-star, being recruited by every top program in the country. Shepherd is the real deal at North Laurel High School. He's an incredible, phenomenal basketball player. And an incredible young man as well. I think I gained more respect for him last year, watching him, the way he carries himself. He takes everything in stride. And this kid is such a good kid. He truly is. And he is a treat to watch. But, you go back to Javante Turner, Big Gavin at Knox Central, Harlan County. If the injury had not occurred last year to Noah, I mean, what possibly could they have done in the regional tournament? And, you talk about Corbin, everything that Tony's got back, and Petrowski is one of the top-tier coaches. So, North Laurel South Laurel is going to be back. Coach Davis got a good bunch of kids coming back. So, on the boys' side and the girls, as you mentioned as well, you look at those girls' teams, North Laurel and Bell County, South Laurel's got to be thrown in there. 2-3 of the top teams in the mountain. So a lot of fun.
KLX is loaded.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And you let Collins come
Tanner,
back healthy.
Go ahead.
I don't have anything else to really add, CJ. It's good to see and hear from Earl again. Earl, CJ, you're talking about those. You met Coach Thomas on your trip to see the wrestling event up in Burg-in. Earl has quite the wrestling connections. He could tell us some good stories from his days back announcing. And I would be interested in hearing that sometime. I've heard a few of them, But Earl would
Yeah.
be good to have on and just do a segment on old wrestling stories.
And I love the fact that CJ is in a lot of AMW now. I still watch, and I love those
Yeah.
guys.
Yep.
You know, a lot of those guys, we grew up in the business together. John Noble, Eddie Browning. Of course, Kyle has become just a wonderful worker, and some other guys you have there. And I love it. I truly do. I wish I had more time to get out and enjoy it. But Tanner, I would love to do that one day as well. I would love to sit and kick back on some old road stories.
Thanksgiving turmoil. If you ain't doing nothing Thanksgiving night, it's going to be a big event. John Noble versus Kyle Maggart in the main event. That might be worth something to check out at the Whitaker Athletic Center in Hazard.
Yep. Planning on it.
If you wanted to go, I could pick you up in Manchester and take you with me. You know, I'd be glad to.
There you go. You guys got a date.
Free ride. That'd be a good show.
I'll take you with me.
Really
would have no problem going there anyway.
Yep. It could be a good show. We may plan on that.
We're doing a two-nighter, actually. We're doing we're doing a two-nighter. We're doing Thanksgiving turmoil, and the next night we're doing live TV taping. So it's going to be a lot going on.
Yep. I'm happy for them. I really am.
One final thing, I'll let you go, Earl. Are we going to see you any time doing any games? I hope we are, but are we going to see you anytime?
Yeah, probably. I think there'll be some at least some classic games that I'll be a part of. Hopefully, if everyone's schedule permits. You know, I enjoy that. Tanner can tell you we've done a lot of games together, and it's the mecca of sports in the mountains. Is in basketball has to be the WYMT class. I mean, there's just nothing like it. I mean, for these kids to participate in, all the spotlight to get shined upon them from WYMT. It's certainly a state tournament atmosphere. It really is for a lot of these kids. And again, anytime that we can shed a light on these our children, and they're all our children. Look, I'm for Clay County. I love my Clay County Tigers and Lady Tigers, but you know I'm a fan of mountains. If any one of our boys or girls has success, there's no better feeling to me. I mean, when I look and across Kentucky and this great country, and I see our kids succeed, it's wonderful.
Yep. Well, Earl, it's always an honor. I'll probably see you then sometime during the YMT because the Lady Eagles are in it, and I plan to be there to watch some games because the schedule is going to allow me to because our boys play on couple of nights that won't interfere with me getting to be there. So I'm looking forward to that. Earl, good luck to the Tigers there on Friday night as you guys travel safely to Johnson Central and safely back home. And good luck to the Tigers basketball. We'll see you pretty soon.
All right. You, Earl. See you, Tanner. You all have a good evening.
Thank you very much. Earl Owens, the main man when it comes to Clay County sports. You can hear him on WTBK FM 105.7, and you can also see him on WYMT doing sports games for YMT and other events that they have. Tanner Haseburg with me as we've had this has been an A-rated show, A+ rated show. And you know how you get rated? A+. As we got Derek Flinchett watching, one of our top officials in the 14th region. Always love it when and the future Mrs. Haseburg says, "I'm Tanner's biggest fan." Well, I knew that.
There's some stiff competition there. I believe my mamaw and my mom would probably more so my mamaw than anybody would probably try to lay claim to that title, but she knows I appreciate the support. And I tell you what, you know, getting back to the point about what a great show this was, CJ. I told you when you called me this week and said Troy Lee Thomas was going to come on, I said, well, I've got several connections to him and he has some great stories. If you'll just give him the time to tell the stories, and then throw in Manus Blair into the beginning. And then that was basically our first hour. And then we bring on Earl Owens, and I mean, what a great show we've had so far tonight. I can tell just by watching you and listening to you that you're very pleased. And anytime the host gives his own show an A+, you've struck gold, right?
Well, I don't like to give my show an A+, but we've seen A+ stuff here tonight. Your girlfriend, she's commented. I love it. Derek Flinching, the comments here. Bobby Bowen, want to continue our prayers with him as he continues his path through his sickness. But, these stories are treasures, Tanner, and we don't know nothing about them. If we don't get them told in formats, then we're never going to know. Because a lot of people know Coach Thomas, I guess, because I had never met him before Saturday night. I'll be honest. But now I want to spend more time knowing about this man. And, maybe I invented a new show. Maybe Local Treasures on WYMTV. They could do a whole story on different coaches or let people that's been involved in sports. Tanner likes it. Hosted by Tanner Haseburg. Oh, I like that. I like that.
I would like to do something like that. The biggest issue at this point is time. It's the reason I don't do more games. Yeah. Although I guess I am still doing games most Fridays and every other Saturday with Morehead State. But I would love to do something like that. And I think there would definitely be a demand for that.
Oh, I would. We got so many treasures in the mountains in all sports, baseball, football, basketball, tennis. People that have been behind the scenes, like your Manus Blairs, or people. Somebody's kept a scorebook. Or somebody's been with a sporting team for 50 years. Right here's an example. Here's a treasure coming up. Nolan Wheeler. You know Nolan. You took many phone calls from Nolan. Yes,
absolutely.
Well, Nolan says he's commenting on the Blair Green injury, and that is a devastating injury. He remembers Coach Manus Blair in the 1992 season at Letcher had a very talented player. Her name was Marcia Adams. Nolan. I do remember her, Nolan. She was a really good player. Letcher had a good team that year. We played them. Let's look at it. We used to play Letcher every year when Letcher had a team. But, the Blair Green injury, that was a devastating injury yesterday, Tanner.
Yeah, my heart sunk when I heard that. I've interviewed her before. She's an outstanding young lady. I know her parents. I've obviously interviewed her mom, Debbie, when she was the coach at Harlan County. When I used to have my radio show, on WSGS Sports 101, we had Blair on one time, and she was terrific. And she was having a great career at UK. This would be their second full season under Coach Elsie after succeeding Matthew Mitchell. So, they were really trying to get the program reestablished, and she was primed for a big senior year. And gosh, she just has so many physical tools, and certainly one of the best women's basketball players ever to come out of the mountains, and maybe one of the best homegrown Kentucky prospects ever. And to see her get hurt like that, I don't know what the rules will be in terms of a medical red shirt. I mean, I would think where she got hurt before the season ever really started, that if she wanted to come back for another season of eligibility, she could. I don't know. She's probably close to finishing her degree. She's a smart young lady. So she may already have something in mind beyond basketball, but it sure is devastating to not get to see her suit up for her senior season. And the last I heard was they said they were fearful she was out for the year. Have they officially ruled her out yet? I haven't seen anything on it today. That may have the official.
I haven't seen nothing new today.
Yeah.
No, I haven't seen nothing new. So we'll have to wait and see how that works itself out. You do know that Coach Green is back in basketball coaching again. I did
hear that. Yeah.
Yeah, so she's back. That's good to see her back too, coaching. I think she'll do a really good job at Pineville. Pineville's had a couple of nice seasons the last couple of years. So we'll see how that works itself out.
Our
Plus,
friend John North, him and his wife coaching the volleyball program down in Pineville and having a lot of success. But going back to the point on Debbie and LG Green, it's great to have them back. They're a couple of people who are just really good for the sport and really good for Eastern Kentucky. Sports are better around here. High school basketball is better around here when they're involved in it. So it is definitely good to see them back, and we wish them success going forward. And obviously we wish Blair a speedy recovery.
Well, hopefully she won't be. Maybe it wasn't as bad as they seem, and maybe she'll get the opportunity to come back.
That would be good. We'll have to check on. I don't know what the red shirt rules are on that.
Hello. How's it going?
We hear you. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Good. You're in the dark.
I know. I'm watching TV.
You're in the dark.
Hold on.
What are you watching?
A Monday Night Football.
What?
Sunday?
Oh, I thought you might have been watching today's Sunday.
Yeah.
Sunday Night Football, not Monday.
Yeah. I was like, it came out of my mouth. I was like, that's wrong.
That's okay. I wouldn't go correct you. Then you corrected yourself, so.
I caught it.
It's amazing how you keep up with the day, because I don't even know you know which day is when you get out of the bed.
No.
I figured you might think it's a Monday and it could be a Tuesday, because you so much going on. I don't even know how you keep up with everything. So and I have to say, your pictures that you've been taking with these teams for you, some nice pictures. I like those. I do.
They're fun. I'm glad we do that.
Team pictures you've been taking with them after they've done their preview.
Mm-hmm. When's Leslie coming? Do you know?
I don't know. I haven't talked to Coach Melton. I ain't talked to Coach Sparks or Coach Rice. I know they're trying.
I want to say they're coming.
Football goes this weekend, and
I can't remember.
Probably the Lady Eagles is probably coming next week.
Yeah, I feel like
I think Coach Rice wanted to haul the boys out. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
We're going to get to the YMT, and I want to do it last, because I feel like that the regular season, I didn't like it. But we had some games, and nothing caught my eye. The only thing that caught my eye was that I am totally convinced that Southwestern can win Class 5A football. I wasn't convinced after the Pulaski County win. I'm convinced now. After what Frederick Douglass went and done against Boyle County, I'm convinced now, because they're so smooth on offense. You shut out Madison Central at Madison Central. Now, I don't know if Madison Central played all their kids, but 26-0 on the road in Richmond. That's impressive. You're gonna catch my eye there. But then everything else was like
at home. Are you sure that game
was pretty good at Harlan?
I thought that Southwestern game
was at Madison Central, wasn't it?
No.
Okay, I'm sorry. It wasn't Southwestern.
It was at Southwestern, because I was like, that's where we had Corey on Friday night.
Yeah.
But still, big win regardless.
Okay, I'm sorry. I thought that was at Madison.
No, it's okay.
Still a good win, though. The Harlan Leslie County game was pretty good. I was there. Johnson Central Belfry was about what I figured. Your game of the week was about what I figured.
Agree.
There really wasn't anything else out there. There really wasn't. I thought Knox Central looked a little bit better. I thought the Breathitt Knox Central game was a really good ball game.
Oh, yeah. I wish I actually could have watched that one.
Knox Central played better.
I think
Breathitt played better. Okay. Now, we don't have a lot of games, because you know how the playoffs are. Certain number gets in. Why does Bell County not have an opponent?
I thought Kansas State just hadn't updated it yet, but they actually don't have an opponent at all.
I haven't checked the schedule since yesterday when I redone it, but they had beside Bell County to be announced.
I have no
Same
idea.
thing they had for Williamsburg. I knew Lincoln wasn't going to play in the. So I knew Williamsburg was getting a bye, but I'm trying to wonder why Bell County's getting a first round bye, because I'm thinking over there that was Rockcastle, Bell, Estill, and Garrett. They were the 4 teams. I wouldn't have thought Garrett or Estill, they both would have played in the playoffs, because
The schedule says Estill now, CJ.
Because okay,
Says Estill
thank you,
now on the
thank
schedule.
you, because thank you. So pencil and Estill there. So
Good. I'm glad, because I was confused by that too.
Is there any games this week?
Go ahead, CJ.
Is there any games this week that catches your eye?
I think there's 2 that I really
Even though
like.
some of these are rematches.
Maybe 3. Hazard Sayre is going to be a heck of a game. Because this time it's at Hazard. And I know they won 14-0 last time, but playoffs are a different breed.
In the driving range.
Yep. Martin County, Shelby Valley, that's our game of the week. I think that should be a good game. And then there was one more that I liked. Let me look. I don't remember what the last one was off the top of my head. I want to say.
What about Southwestern what about Pulaski County North?
It was Pulaski North. Pulaski North was
be better this time.
Yep, I liked that one a lot too. I think that one will be good. I mean, I still don't think it's there, but I still think it'll be a good game. But yeah,
I think the Prairie Central Letcher Central game is going to be better.
See, I
think Prairie really come a long way in the last 3 or 4 weeks.
I was at that regular season game, so yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I think you're right. I think Perry's gotten better, but I still don't think they're as good as Letcher is, in my opinion. But anything can happen.
CJ, I actually think I'm going to be on the call for that one. Shelby Valley against Martin County on Friday night. Looking forward to that one. And I'll try to say John Lowe's name right this time.
Or you don't have to. It's okay.
Or I don't have to say his name at all. Well, a few weeks ago, I did the Shelby Valley at Martin County game on Game of the Week, and I called him Josh instead of John. I didn't even know I did it. And I know in my head his name was John, but my mouth said Josh. I think it was a muscle memory thing with Josh McKinney, where I did live shots with him when he was sports director for so many years. Also, that was the day I found out I passed the bar, and I was probably feeling myself a little too much. And
Excuses.
The universe needed to humble me some.
That's all I hear. Excuses.
Those are my excuses, and I'm sticking to them. But it should be a great rematch. That was a good game for about 3 quarters before Martin County pulled away last time.
Yeah, it should be a good game. I think Shelby Valley's gotten better, so we'll see.
Well, I spoke with Coach Howard earlier today. I said, was defense an option Friday night when you played Shelby Valley? He said, well, yeah. Well, I said, I don't think so, because apparently you didn't play none. I said, you gave up 26 to them. I'm hard on him. You got to realize he's my brother. Even though he is the coach of Hazard, they ought to be giving 26 points up to Shelby Valley. And I'm
give him a hard time.
I asked him, I just simple. I said, where was the defense? Oh, you know how the brother-sister thing is. You got to give them a hard time. If you don't, you don't. Yeah, yeah. The only one thing I want to talk about UK with last night was I thought our uniforms looked good, but besides that, that was the sorriest effort I've ever seen us. But fourth.
I got to be honest. I didn't watch a single snap.
We wasted an open day. We wasted an open day.
Oh, I heard it was bad, but I don't know what their problem is, honestly. But
Well,
it makes that
I know
Tennessee
you're
game
jacked up for this week.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, I know.
I gotta bite my tongue on this one, but Tennessee's gonna get
Kentucky's a 5-point.
funny.
Kentucky's a 5-point favorite right now.
Actually, I think it got bet down to 3.
I'm expecting
CJ.
a shootout, actually, but
We'll see. It'll be a good game.
is it down to 3 now?
Yeah, it's down to 3. The early money came in on Tennessee.
Are you going to be there?
I think it's basically a coin flip.
No, John's going because I went to LSU, Florida. I've been to like 3 or 4, so he's going. He's been in a while.
But this is your home team. I mean, this is your home place. It should only be fitting, Miss Hogan.
I mean, yeah, but like we all want to go to games, so he was like, "I want to go," and I was like, "That's fine."
Yeah.
I couldn't really argue when I went to the Florida game, and that's one of the best wins Kentucky will ever have. So I was like, "It's okay, you should go." Like, no big deal. Because I mean, I've been to that game 1,000 times, and I'll go 1,000 more times, so it's no big deal.
Yeah. We're going
to
talk a little about the WYMT. I said, Peter's got anything, I'll let you go.
I'm excited, really excited.
The matchup.
I had suggested
the seeding is what I was a little.
Yeah, I had suggested something a little different than what they went with. But overall, I think it'll be really good.
Well, we got
Harlan
and Knox County Central Lady Patriots in the first game.
Mm-hmm.
Shelby Valley and Leslie County. I think that could be a showstopper. Could be a stealer there. Shelby Valley, Knox Central boys. This is going to be interesting for Knox Central to play a 15th region team when they don't play many of them. Breathitt and Johnson Central, that'll be a nice game. Harlan Knott could be okay game. And then Prairie and Platesville.
Yep. Harlan said they're bringing a big crowd this year, so that'll be good.
This is the most competitive field, I think. Don't you agree?
What'd you say?
I'm sorry. This is the most competitive field we've ever had.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Because in my opinion, I mean, Breathitt could win it. Johnson Central could win it. Harlan could win it. Paintsville can win it. And Knox Central could win it. Any of those teams. On the boys.
What about the girls? Boys, but what about girls? Who is it? Just North, or because the other team do they have a chance?
Well, Bell County ended up being really good last year. I think they played South Laurel. I don't know what round it was in the region tournament, but Souter told me the other day that if there had been 2 more minutes on that game, he was like, I thought we would have lost that game, but like time was kind of in our favor. So Bell County, I mean, they were good towards the end of the season last year. So I think Bell, North, obviously, and then Shelby Valley. I mean, I think they'll have a very successful season, but it all depends on Cassidy staying healthy. That's been the name of the game the last 3 years. So I think with her senior season, she's, more motivated to hopefully not get hurt. So we'll see. And I normally would have said Belfry too.
I personally.
But Kiera Thornsberry transferred to Pikeville, and she was like their end all be all. So I don't put them in it nearly as much as I would have if she had stayed. But yeah. And then of course.
That's why I would have put Shelby Valley. That's why I would have put Shelby Valley a 2 seed and gave Bell a 3.
Mm-hmm.
And then put, maybe Belfry a 6.
Yeah,
I'm thinking that way because
I suggested Valley at 2, but I don't vote on the committee. I just give them what I think that we should do, and then they vote. So they just changed Bell County. So I was like, okay, whatever. So I tried. But yeah, I'm excited. I wish it was that.
That's okay. Tanner, go ahead.
Nothing really to add. I mean, it's UK
UK
Tennessee week. and it's UK Tennessee week, and you have Camille on the show, and she wouldn't take the bait. You tried to give her the chance to talk some smack and predict a Tennessee victory. I will say you have to give Tennessee credit because they are better than what most people thought they would be. Maybe not Tennessee fans, but they're certainly better than I thought they would be, and I think a lot of the national media thought they would be. And sitting on 4 wins right now, and if they beat Kentucky, they're pretty much guaranteed a bowl game. Now they end with 2 pretty easy games on the schedule, but a win against Kentucky, and they basically just have to win one of their last 3, I guess it would be, although one is against Georgia. So they have a lot to play for, and maybe they're catching Kentucky at the right time.
Yep. I think it'll be a good one. I'm sure. I hope Tennessee wins, but we'll see. I always tell people I'm a Kentucky fan. Not when the Kentucky and Tennessee play, then I'm a Tennessee fan. Otherwise, year round, I'm a Kentucky fan also.
What do you think about this exhibition game the other night?
Well, when they're on Fridays and I have to go to London, I'm like, I can't even watch it. Like, I saw highlights and I thought it was good, but like, I really didn't see it in real time. I know everyone is super impressed with Ty Washington. Like, even the other day, CJ Frederick said in an interview, he was like, I knew Ty was good. He was like, but oh my God, I had no idea he was this good. So, I mean, for CJ to say that, that's pretty big. Someone that's played for the last couple of years. So I'm excited to watch him. And then, of course, Oscar Tshiebwe. I like him a lot. Like, his personality is great. He's like a fun-loving guy, which I think is good to have that kind of like personality on the team. So I'm excited. It's going to be good.
As Tanner would tell you, if your name is CJ, then you're intelligent. Okay, so we're just going to stop right there.
I don't think I've ever said that.
Well, I've heard it come out of your mouth before. I mean, it's like, hey, you know what? If your name's CJ, you're pretty smart. You just don't say that loudly, where a lot of people have heard it. But I mean, she would know when talking to a CJ. Things are going to happen.
Fair enough.
You got that name. It's going to happen. Okay. Where are you going to be Friday night?
That's a loaded question. I have no idea. I haven't even looked at the schedule, honestly. I told John the other day, the only playoff game that I care about going to is, knock on wood, assuming Corbin and Johnson Central meet in the region final. I was like, I'm going to that game. That will be the game that I go to. I was like, any other game I really don't care about, but I care about the game.
That'd be at Corbin. Corbin.
Yes, because last year was at Johnson Central. So
the RPIs are done now.
Right.
So they'll not be updated no more. So Corbin wound up with the ahead of Johnson Central. So yeah, that would wind up being at Corbin. So yeah, I think that's going to happen.
Oh yeah, I'm already setting that in stone in my brain. So. Yeah,
I would anticipate 2. That would probably be the game of the week, probably the game of the year.
Oh my God!
I mean, you won't know. I mean, the prep leading to that game with Coach Matney plus Corbin's season they're having, and the kids playing for Matney.
Right.
It's going to bring so much emotion and passion. It's one game that you could never. I mean, seriously, you do not want to miss if you cannot.
Absolutely. Yep, that's my plan. I was like, I don't
turn people away.
I mean, yeah, like it's going to be crazy because the winner of that game will meet either Boyle County or Lexington Catholic in state semis, which will be another absolutely. I don't know. It would just depend on who wins.
Well, I can tell you right now. Hold on a minute. I got the RPIs in front of me.
Because I don't know.
I got everything.
Corbin's 2 in RPI and 4A or 3 maybe. I don't know.
Corbin's 3. Corbin is 3. Johnson Central 4.
4. Where's Boyle and
that game
Lexcast?
will travel. Boyle's 1. Lexcast 2.
Yeah, so that'll be at Boyle. Yeah, that'll be an insane game. Either way. But yeah. And then I think too, because I was looking at brackets the other day, I think Middlesbrough has a really good shot of going to state semis. Really good shot. Because the way that they, because I think I think it was like West Carter, I felt like was the strongest team that they would have to beat to get there.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that'd be West Carter. West Carter, though, would actually Middlesbrough would host that game.
Right.
If it got to that point. Middlesbrough,
right.
West Carter would be at Middlesbrough. So
yeah, that's got to be a haul.
So I can see that. I don't see nobody beating LCA though.
Oh, I agree. Nobody. I think it'll be Beechwood and LCA in the championship, just like last year, and I think LCA wins it this year.
Well, I'll give you my predictions right now. I think it's going to be Pikeville and Russellville for 1A.
Yep.
LCA and Beechwood in 2A. I'm going to say Boyle County and I think Franklin County may get back there. Their path's a lot more easier than the rest of them teams. So we may get a rematch there. I think Frederick Douglass and Covington Catholic will wind up being there in the end, but don't count Woodford County out because they're undefeated. And I wouldn't count Trinity out. I mean, I know Trinity's a 4 seed, but they've all won like 4 games all year, but all it takes is a win, one per week, and you can get there. The other 3A, I think Bell's RPI is going to be the only thing that hurt them because they're going to be on the road. And they're going to host the first 2 rounds, but after that, they'll be on the road the rest of the way. And for Dudley and them to pull that off, he's done it before, though. I mean, I don't put nothing against him. But
yeah, and I mean, I'm not counting out Belfry by any means. But I think 3A. I think 3A is probably the most wide open as in terms of who could win it because I really don't think there's like a favorite per se.
Is tomorrow night your guys' last top 10 of the season?
Yes.
Or will you have one more?
No, because once playoffs start, it's done. So yeah, this will be the last one. So it won't change from here on out.
So
Monday.
So. Well, if I'm looking at your top 10 tomorrow night, then Corbin's will stay 1, Southwestern will stay 2, Pikeville will stay 3, Johnson Central will stay 4, Middlesbrough will stay 5, Bell County will stay 6, Pulaski County, I guess, will stay 7 even though they didn't play. I don't know what you're going to do at Letcher.
Letcher will
9,
stay.
North Laurel, they'll stay.
Yep.
And Lawrence County, they lost to Raceland.
I know. I don't know who to put in that 10 spot. Maybe Belfry back in.
Well, they're in my top 10. I had Belfry in there at number 9.
9.
Not Belfry, 7.
7.
7's where I had them in my top 10.
That's high.
I'm high on the Pirates. I think Belfry's starting to play better. I think they just needed to win a game or two to feel more confident as a team. And I feel like they're starting to run it off now. I think they're going to play better. Because now their RPI is 14. And they're going to probably wind up playing Glasgow in the regional final. So, but I never count out Coach Haywood during the playoffs. You don't.
Oh no. I never bet against him. Okay, it's like you don't bet against Nick Saban. Never. You don't bet against Philip Haywood. Never. Nope. Not doing it. So we'll see. It'll be interesting. I haven't seen them play in weeks, so
it will be.
I don't know how much they've actually grown because I haven't seen them in person.
Well, I thought the Johnson Central game was good for them because, I mean, they did get beat a couple touchdowns, but, probably neither team played their starters and neither team had anybody in there that's going to play in the playoffs. So, Tanner, anything you want to say to Camille before we let her go?
No, always appreciate the insight. And I know she and the rest of the sports team, this is one of their busiest times of the year. Got basketball getting ready to start up. You got playoff football. You have some of the other sports still going on as well. And I remember when I was at WYMT, that was always a very busy time for the sports folks. And I always had a great amount of respect for them for that. So good luck to them as they bring us the highlights over the next few weeks.
Thank you.
How you like our little chat box? Has that been working better on Messenger?
Oh yeah, that works
Has our
perfect.
Messenger thing been, okay.
Yeah.
What I do is I just throw the material in there, and you guys determine what you guys are going to do. So that you let me know. I think it's made it easier for me because I don't have to run all three of your Facebook private accounts. It just keeps everybody together. And if we ever wanted to start a really good conversation in there, nobody will ever know we're conversating. So
Exactly.
All right, Miss Camille, you're always an honor. You are an honor, always. And I don't know who it'll be next week, but whoever it will be, I'll be glad to have them. If it's you, I'll be glad to have you back. We'll talk week 1 of the playoffs and get into the second exhibition game and some other things.
Sounds good. Happy Halloween, guys.
All right. See you, Camille.
Happy Halloween. See you,
It is
Camille.
Halloween.
Be careful.
I forgot about that. It is
I
Halloween.
did say it early in the show. Oh, yeah, we forgot about our mask. Look at our mask. Yes. So we're going to end the show with a mask on. So hold on. Actually, mine lights up. Let's see.
It's going to have to be the end of the show because I can't breathe very well.
Mine lights up. So if you see it, you see mine? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
All right. We will. I'll make this quick here, Tanner, so you won't have to. You can breathe. Let's see. Let me get my final notes and we'll get out of here. Again, my announcement. Starting next week, you can see the CJ Howard Show on the D&D Sports Network at 8 o'clock. Starting next week, we'll be on Facebook, YouTube, and the D&D Sports Network. Looking forward to that. It's going to be a lot of fun, and it's going to be a good experience for the show and everybody. I want to thank everybody that made the phone call, watched the show, and left comments tonight. I want to thank Troy Thomas. That was the greatest, one of the best interviews I've ever had, but it was really great to have Manus tied in there with you, Tanner. Great to have Earl. It's so great to have Camille as always. It's been unbelievable guest list tonight. I can never say thank you enough to my co-host Tanner Haseburg. I'll let him get his final comments in just a moment. Want to remind everybody I'll be back with you Wednesday night for the CJ Sports Report, Football Report. I'll be back with you for Week 11, playoffs, picks, rankings, and much, much more. So you'll be able to see that on YouTube and Facebook. Also, we'll be with you Sunday night, November the 7th, episode number 14 of the CJ Howard Show. My co-host, if he can still do it, it's going to be the legendary Brian Milam. And we'll have great guests and much, much more. Next Sunday night, on here on the Facebook Live, on the YouTube, and on D&D Sports Network. And if you get an opportunity, stop by and check out my new my YouTube page. Subscribe to my channel and help me out there. Also, sometime this week, I don't know when it will be, I will be distributing a new Facebook page. It's going to be called the CJ Howard Show. It's strictly for the CJ Howard Show only. I want you guys to go like that page and be a part of that page. So that should be a lot going on. Okay, Tanner, go ahead and give us your final comments, and we'll get out of here.
I will keep it very brief and short and sweet. It was an honor to be back on, CJ, and I hope we can do it again soon.
I love your hat. I mean, your costume hat. I love that. That's just my wife's gonna love. I gotta have a picture of that. I gotta take a picture of that. That's
Okay.
we're cat lovers anyway in this house, and she will appreciate this. There we go. Oh, definitely she'll love that. All right. I want to thank Tanner as usual. I always thank Tanner. Tanner, do not leave me like we always do. Stay with me till we're done, even when we're off, not live. I want to thank everybody. Come back with me on Wednesday night and on Sunday night, our show of the week. This is CJ running third and heading for home. Happy Halloween, everybody. Good night from the CJ Howard Show. And God bless.